Hi, this is Professor Becker. In this video is to go over your syllabus for your General Chemistry 1 course. If you'll notice at the top, this syllabus is actually for 2 courses. I have a Monday and a Tuesday, Gen Chem 1. So if you're in the Monday class, we're meeting from 10 to 12:45 in Building 1, 322A. And if you're in the Tuesday class, we're going to meet in the same room and at the same time, but on Tuesday. The syllabus for both classes is identical except for the lab schedule, and I'll talk about that at the end. So let's take a look. I've already mentioned my name is Professor Becker. My office is right down the hall from the lab. It's in Building 1, Room 316. My email is given, my office phone, and now let's go down to office hours. So on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I will be in my office from 9 to 10 a.m. On Thursday, I'll be in my office from 11 to 1. All my other office hours are online, which means you can contact me online. Let's go down to preferred contact method. Even though you can contact me several different ways, I prefer to be contacted through Blackboard. My goal is to reply to you within 24 hours during the week. Let's go to course. So obviously the name of the course is General Chemistry 1. You can read the description. Let's go down to the prereqs. The prereqs are very important. You need to have taken Intro to Chem or 1 year of high school chemistry with a minimum grade of C. And there are math prerequisites. Let's go to educational materials. The book for this course that is in the college bookstore is General Chemistry by Ebbing and Gamon, the 10th edition. I do not care what general chemistry book you buy or what edition it is, as long as it's been written in the last 7 years. Nothing we do for homework, for quizzes, or exams will be based on one textbook. Under Other, you obviously have to have the ability to access the internet on a daily basis, and you must bring your scientific calculator to every lab meeting. I highly suggest you get a 3-ring binder notebook so that you can print out all the PowerPoint slides and put them in one place. When you're going to print out the PowerPoint slides, I suggest you print them in black and white, and I also suggest that you put 2 to 3 slides per page. Let's go to assessment process. This semester, you're going to have 9 chapter quizzes, which accounts for 20% of your grade. We're going to be doing lab, which counts for 20% of your grade. In that 20%, the labs that we're going to do and you're going to hand in are worth 15%, and the lab practical will be worth 5%. Then we will have 3 exams worth 45% and a final exam worth 15%. The final exam will be cumulative, but notice that it counts for the same percentage as any normal test. Under attendance, if you do not attend the first lab meeting, you will automatically be withdrawn from the course. For the disclaimer statement, if I have to change anything, I will let you all know through Blackboard messaging. You can read the online learning statement. Let's go down to policies. So it's really important for attendance is if you are absent for 3 or more labs, you will automatically be withdrawn from the class. There are no excused absences. Please make sure that you get to lab on time, because 5 minutes after lab starts, I'm going to lock the door and you will not be able to come in. That will count as an absence. Under makeups, there are no makeups on any assignment, exam, or quiz, unless military or jury duty can be confirmed. Under cheating, I have a zero tolerance for cheating. If I can prove that you cheated, you will automatically fail the course. One thing that came to my attention today is that students have been taking their cell phones into the testing center, and if your cell phone rings while you're taking a test, the testing center will take your test away and give you a 0, and they will write it up as academic dishonesty. Please make sure that your cell phones are turned off. This has happened to students even though their cell phones were in a bag, so they were nowhere near the student. Final exam. The final exam is required. Any student not taking it will receive an F. There is no extra credit given in this class. You can read the withdrawal policy, but what I'd like to mention is that I will not withdraw you except for attendance issues. Students with disabilities, if you need accommodations, please let me know as soon as possible. You can read the academic honesty statement, expected student conduct. Let's go down to personal electronic devices. PEDs, such as cell phones, tablets, and laptops, are not allowed in lab. If you'd like a full description of college policies, the links are given. You can read through the Valencia Student Core Competence Statement, the Computer Equipment Use Statement, the Student Assistant Program Statement. Let's go down to this. This semester, we have 14 learning outcomes. If you read through these right now, they may not make much sense to you. But my goal is by the end of the semester, you can read through this list and you will understand everything on it. Let's go to the tentative schedule of classes in lab. I have this set up by month. So I've just shown the ending of August. So our first meeting is on Monday, August 28th, for students who have Monday lab. And our meeting will be Tuesday the 29th for the students who have Tuesday lab. This class schedule of what you should be doing during the week is the same for both courses. So for the first week of school, you should be studying Chapter 1. Remember that this is a hybrid course, so essentially you teach yourself the material. We just meet for lab. So in orange shows you what you should be studying that week. So if you notice, you should be studying Chapter 1 this whole first week, and then the next Sunday, so Sunday, September 3rd, the Chapter 1 quizzes due. All of the quizzes for all of the chapters are open already. Please do not wait to the last minute to take the chapter quiz. So let's go on to September 4th. This week you should be working on Chapter 2. Then the week of the 11th, you should be working on Chapter 2 and 3. You will be taking the Chapter 2 quiz by September 17th. And the Chapter 3 quiz by September 24th. And then notice this in blue, this is all Exam 1. So Exam 1 will cover Chapters 1 through 3. It will be in the East Campus Testing Center, and it is a range of days. You just have to make sure you've taken it by October 1st. So there you can see the Exam 1 is due. Please make sure that you bring photo ID, you bring a calculator. If it is a graphing calculator, they should be erasing the memory, so keep that in mind. All right, after Exam 1, we go on to Chapter 4, 5, and 6. Then we have Exam 2, so in the blue is when it will be open in the East Campus Testing Center, but it is due by the 29th of October. Then we're going to go on to Chapter 7 and 8, which we do together. So we get 2 weeks, then the Chapter 7 and 8 quiz. Then we're going to go on to Chapter 9 and 10, their quizzes, and then we have Exam 3 open in the Testing Center for November 27th through December 3rd. So Exam 3 is due December 3rd. This week, you should be reviewing for the final exam, and then your final exam is open in the East Campus Testing Center December 11th through the 15th. Let's go down to important dates. The drop refund deadline this semester is September 15th. The withdrawal deadline is November 10th. I've also written down the exam due dates again for you. And remember, it has to be done in the East Campus Testing Center. All right, let's talk a little bit more in depth about the assignments. So the first thing is you're going to have 9 chapter quizzes. The course is developed to try to force you to keep up so that we are having chapter quizzes every week so that you cannot fall behind. All of the chapter quizzes are given in Blackboard, and they're comprised of multiple choice, short answer, true and false, and fill in the blank, which is really short answer. It's usually math. Please make sure that you use the right number of significant figures and that you use units when it calls for units. The quizzes are all timed, and they're all due at 11:59.00. It is your responsibility to submit the quiz by 11:59.00. If the quiz is submitted late, you will get a 0 for it. I will drop 1 quiz grade. Under homework, there are homework assignments on Blackboard for every chapter, and there are answer keys for the homework. You should do the homework, but it is not handed in and it is not part of your grade. Let's go to exams. So remember, there are 3 face-to-face exams. Remember, the first one will cover chapters 1 through 3, the second will be chapters 4 through 6, and the last will cover 7 through 10. You will be taking them in the East Campus Testing Center. They are on Blackboard. The quizzes can be accessed after you take them, after the due date is passed, so that you can see your grades, you can see what you got right and what you got wrong. The exams are different. You will not be able to access the questions and answers in Blackboard after the due date, but that doesn't mean that you can't see what you got wrong. All you have to do is make an appointment with me during my office hours and we'll go over them together. When you go to the East Campus Testing Center for your exams and your final, you will be given the same periodic table sheet packet that I asked you to print from our Blackboard site. Remember that it is your responsibility to memorize any mathematical equations because they are not given on the test. All right, final exam. Obviously, there's going to be a final exam. It is cumulative, which means it will cover all the chapters. Again, it will be in the East Campus Testing Center, and it will be on Blackboard. Another thing I'd like to mention about the exams, the 3 face-to-face exams and the final exam, is that they are not timed. You could literally go when the testing center opens till when it closes. They are not timed, but they do have to be done in one sitting. Okay, let's go to this box here at the end. This class is more difficult as a hybrid class than if you were to take it face-to-face. In order to be successful, you have to be very motivated, a self-learner, organized, committed, good at math, and have at least 10 hours a week to devote to this class. Remember that you're teaching yourself. So these are just some things I think will increase the odds of you being successful in the course. Number 1, read the PowerPoint lecture notes before we have lab. Try all the examples in the lecture notes before we have lab. I want you to do this before we have lab so that when we have time together during lab, you can ask me about the questions that you have. I would suggest watching the videos on Blackboard that I supply if something isn't just making sense to you. I suggest doing the handouts for every chapter and checking the answer keys. Same thing with the homework. If you're having issues or difficulties, please see me as soon as possible. I would suggest that you set up a time that you go to the tutoring center at least once a week. Make sure you take your quizzes and exams before the due date. If you don't know why you got something wrong on a quiz or an exam, please ask me as soon as possible. Let's go to the lab portion. So remember, you could be in the Monday lab or the Tuesday lab. The lab manual is the same. It is a custom edition and you can only get it at the East Campus bookstore. Please remember to bring your scientific calculator to every lab. Under attendance policy, there are no makeup labs, and remember, I will be locking the door at 10:05, and you have to be on time. If you miss 3 or more labs, you will automatically be withdrawn from the course. Please make sure that you have closed-toed shoes and that your bottoms are ankle length. Under grading policy, like I said previously, the labs that we're going to perform and that you're going to hand in are worth 15% of your grade, and the lab practical that we'll have at the end of the semester is worth 5% of your grade. Under course assignments, there will be assigned pre-lab questions for each lab. In the Blackboard video, I will show you where to get those pre-lab questions. At the beginning of lab, I will walk around and I will check to see if your pre-lab questions are completed. I'm not checking for accuracy, I'm just checking to see if you've tried to do them. If you do not have all of the pre-lab questions completed, you will get a 0 and you will have to leave lab. Usually, you will have 1 week to complete your lab reports and then turn them in the next week, unless we have a holiday and then you'll have more time. Alright, here's where the syllabus deviates if you have Monday lab or Tuesday lab. So the tentative schedule for Monday lab is given here, and then for Tuesday lab is given here. So let's take a look at Monday's lab. Notice that it says the week of. So the week of August 28th, we will talk about safety, and it will be an introduction to the course. The next week, we do not have lab. Then we're doing an introduction to lab, which is a handout lab that you have to print out. Then we're going to go to nomenclature, basic laboratory operations, percent water in a hydrate, ID of a compound, limiting reactant, volumetric analysis, vinegar analysis, calcium carbonate analysis, calorimetry. Then we do not have lab due to Thanksgiving break. Then we're going to complete our labs with molecular models. And then the last week we will have a lab practical. Let's take a look at Tuesday's lab. Tuesday's lab, they do have lab the second week because it does not fall on September 4th, which the school is closed. It actually falls on September 5th. Remember, these are not the dates of lab, it says the week of. So their lab schedule is slightly switched. But we end the same thing, lab practical, and we're performing all of the same labs. Well, I hope this introduction to your syllabus helped, and if you have any questions, please let me know.